Welcome to Worth Your Time with your hosts from the nationally syndicated Bob and Tom Show, Kristi Lee, and the president and CEO of the Indianapolis Zoo, Dr. Rob Shumaker. Our mission to inform, entertain, and educate with guests from all aspects of life. We guarantee there isn't another podcast that features two hosts with such different backgrounds and discussions with remarkable people doing exceptional things. So let's get started. Here are your hosts, Kristi Lee and Dr. Rob Shumaker.
Welcome to our show. We are with Dr. Will Miller today, continuing our conversation, and today focusing a little bit more on the serious side, talking about his incredible book, Refrigerator Rights. Dr. Will, we're glad you're back. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's a privilege, and thank you for sharing this. This is something that's it's a passion of mine and near and dear to my heart. It really is.
Well, and it's something that you were, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but it was something you were on early before the pandemic, and then, boy, that was just like a shot in the rear, if you want to. I could have said ass, but I didn't.
Well, yeah, I've always I'm sorry.
About isolation in our society and how that is affecting things.
It is blown up now. The Surgeon General, Dr. Murthy, came out with a blistering news item in the summer that said isolation and loneliness is the number one health crisis in America, and it is killing us. But you're right. That's something near and dear to my heart. When I was out here in Indiana for the first time after I left LA, and I met Dr. Glenn Sparks, who's an internationally renowned media guy, and we were talking about our personal experiences about growing up on the East Coast in a large family. Everyone after college left, moved someplace with the love of their life. And now, for example, I said, my God, I have 6 brothers and sisters. We live in 7 different states. He had the same story. And so we said, how do you rebuild the family? How do you do that? Yeah. And that's when he told me it's a media effect. Social media becomes an unintended interruption for creating face-to-face relationships. And so if you think about it, I'm not naive. I know some people left their family and went, thank God I'm the hell out of there. But for most people, their siblings, their cousins, all of these natural calming relationships are gone. How do you rebuild those when social media and the internet interferes with it? So we wrote this book. Refrigerator Rights refers to, it was a woman at my church in New Jersey who said, people back in my day, we didn't think about depression. I said, what did you do when people got low? She said, we just gathered around and met with them. I said, people were in your house, weren't they? Go, yeah. And they could be in your house calmly, right? Oh, yeah, they could go anywhere. They could go to your refrigerator, right? Yeah, you could do that. So they had refrigerator rights, and her eyes lit up, and that's where that came from. People who are in your private space to go to your medicine cabinet and be cousins, siblings, aunts, uncles, etc. These are the relationships that are gone. They're gone for most Americans. We're hyper-focused on our significant other, and we have marginalized all of those lateral relationships. It's exactly what Dr. Murthy's talking about. So we wrote this book. It was published as a hardbound by Penguin Putnam. And guess when it was released? On 9/11.
Another
so I'm in the
Schmucko.
Schmucko too. We love it.
Absolutely. I'm in the green room of Good Morning America, and they go, "Oh, sorry, we can't do the interview." And it was like there were planes flying into the. It's just, oh my God. So we lost a lot of our initial push, but whatever. So now time goes on, and then the Harvard Happiness Study comes out and says the key to relationships is relationships. This is a story that has been out there, but getting worse and worse. And finally, they've raised the alarm. People don't know how to get connected, or they get connected not so much to people, but to, tribes, influences. That's what the whole Trump thing is about. That's what MAGA is about. It's about, I belong to this tribe. I belong to this group, and that's my meaning. And so I understand what's going on in the culture and in the society. The fact of the matter is people used to get this in certain social settings like church. Hell, who goes to church anymore? It's yucky. I'm a minister and I can't stand it.
Oh, you do. Now, wait a minute. We're going to talk about the gathering. You do a heck of a job in church. Don't you say that.
But that's because when I trained to be a minister, first of all, you want to hear about my pathology. I just got diagnosed not long ago with severe ADHD. Hello, I could have told you that. The psychologist looked at my paperwork and she goes, I probably could have stopped the interview when I saw that you have 5 graduate degrees.
Yeah.
Just it's nuts.
Underachieving.
But in any event, one of my degrees was at Union Theological Seminary, which was a really high-end, it's at Columbia, a scholarly look at, great people have been through that place. And I realized that religion is oftentimes done terribly. It's autocratic. I said, if I ever do a church, I don't want any power. I just want to talk about what makes them work. I don't want to worry about the roof. I don't want to worry about painting. None of that BS. That's schmucky church. I don't want a schmucky church. And so we have the gathering, which really has called in people who felt like they've been burned by organized religion. And I say, we're disorganized. It's really great. But we talk about how you be a person of caring and loving. What's hard about that? It's love and service, full stop. You got that, Sparky? Do that. And if you stay on that road, you're good. And so we have a lot of fun. I do stand up there. I really do.
Oh, I love it. It's wonderful. You do a great job.
It's the easiest thing. And I said, I've never, ever once condemned anybody. Not once, ever. Yeah. I guess I'm ordained. I guess I could.
Yeah.
Maybe I should think about that.
I'm sorry that you say your book hasn't gotten the amount of attention that it clearly deserves. It is an incredible book. If people haven't read it, the title literally, Refrigerator Rights. It's absolutely stunningly good. It's an easy read. It makes perfect sense. And it's beautifully written. And I want to ask you about one. You have some of the most fantastic phrases. You talk about what are the things that are making life difficult, media, separation, so on. And you combine it all together and you say, those things are psychologically combustible. What a brilliant phrase. What a brilliant phrase. Mm-hmm. And how true.
Right. And that's what Murthy came out and said. I mean, I work with the police. There are 110,000 overdoses in America. Guess what, Doc? A high percentage of those are depression and like slow-baked suicides. They're isolated. And then, suicides, like 47,000 suicides. It's like we're having a mental health crisis that's over the top. And I attribute it to the lack of connection with other people. It's really cool. In the new treatment is with Stephen Porges. It's your face. When I speak, I tell the story about when I was at a comedy club in Oklahoma. And it was a good club. I was a good comedian. And the guy sitting right in front of me was just looking at me, not laughing. And I said to him, are you having a good time? And he goes, yeah. I said, why don't you tell your face? So that's been my mantra ever since. Tell your face. Because a warm affect in your face tells the person you're facing, whether you know them or not, I'm safe to approach. And a lot of people just have a puss on their face. And that's the defensive posture. You don't have that with your family or your loved ones. You just don't have that. So the social connection starts with face-to-face engagement. I got to tell you, shout outs to the Bob and Tom Show. I've said this for a very long time. The environment in that place, with all the soap opera and all of the tensions, whatever, and I know what they are, but you all are bonded together and love each other. You're like a real family. I can't stand this sibling. I can't stand that sibling, whatever. But you're together and you make it work. And guess what? The people who are listening feel like they're in the room with you. They feel like they're part of the family. Yeah. Don't underestimate how profoundly powerful that is.
I like some of my siblings. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But it's day to day, just like any family.
Sure.
Yeah, no.
Exactly.
No, you're right. We each have each other's back no matter what. And
that's right.
You might not let me in the door, but I'm going to his refrigerator when I get in there. That's for sure.
Well, that's right.
Yeah.
And you also know if someone is off, you have a vibe about why they're off.
Yeah.
Because it's something going on in their life. And if you push them, they'll fess up.
Yeah.
So, just like cousins and siblings.
Mm-hmm. So I have a great colleague and a good friend. We know each other professionally, but we become really good friends. And literally today, he was talking about this. He said, I've got a colleague who talks about when I'm at work, we're a big family. It's all family. It's all family. He said, it's not my family. He said, it's not my family. He said, these are the people I work with. I care about them. They're good people. It's not my family. He said, and here's what I would say. In your family, you never give up on someone. It doesn't matter.
Bingo.
Doesn't
That's
matter.
right.
And his phrase was, the fifth time they have a problem with whatever, alcohol, drug, whatever it is, he said, you support them, you work with them. He said, we don't do that at work. He said,
No.
too many times, sorry, you're out. He said,
Amen.
There's a difference. There's a difference. Don't mix them up.
Guess what? That's boilerplate religious effort. You forgive and you keep going forward.
That's it.
And if someone is off, you keep forgiving them, and eventually they'll fess up and break. They will. God, I'm having a blast in my life. And 14 years ago, Kristi knows this.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about this.
No warning and no symptoms. I'm over at my office at Purdue campus, and I walk up to the front office, and without any warning, my heart stopped. I had sudden cardiac arrest. I collapsed, hit my head on a metal door jamb. I was out. I had 100% blockage. I had the Widowmaker in real time. Wow. And so I was out. And so it turns out there was a cop on the corner who I knew. I was their chaplain. And he came in and gave me chest compressions. Nothing. The firehouse zipped in there, and I coded 3 times. And I came back with a stent in my heart. It's a freaking miracle I'm alive. By the way, I said to the chief, I said, hey, Jason, I said, I'm a minister. I didn't see the light. What the hell's going on? He goes, it's because the cop was blocking it. The cop blocked my light. So anyway, I'm a walking miracle. And I said this is what got me interested in trauma. I went to my own family therapist and I said, what does it mean when you have that catastrophe and you have no memory of it? Because I was out. And he smiled and he goes, Amy remembers. I said, what? He goes, Amy. What do you mean you're Amy? The amygdala, the part of your brain that's the alarm system. Animals have it. We all have it. It's the alarm system that sets you up. Amy remembers. And so that really was an insight into me about people who get traumatized. Their brain, some parts of their brain get activated and others don't. That's what's so hard about treating trauma, because you don't remember it. The parts that were real live then get shut down.
That's what my therapist told me about my childhood. You can't remember things because it was a trauma at the time, and your brain won't let you remember that right now.
Bingo.
And I'm like,
Bingo.
I'll tell you one of my favorite phrases. People say, "Oh, I'm triggered. I'm triggered." For me, that phrase is, "It's an amygdala hijack."
That's right.
It takes over your amygdala. You can't help it. Yep. You react.
That's right.
It's not under your control. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And with police, it's really interesting with police officers. I went with cops for 15 years. And by the way, although I'm for a long time I was called the chaplain. I went, I'm not that freaking holy. Don't call me a chaplain. I'm the trauma guy. And so one of the things that I've told them is that police training is designed to mute or shut down the fight or flight when they go on a call.
Yeah.
And it's a training thing. And I often tell them, I say, look, you have to go out, especially what's going on with policing, and you have to arrest some guy who's just an arrogant, violent SOB, and you want to just clock him, but you don't want to get on YouTube, so you have to work within your boundaries. And when you come back to the place, I want you to think about something. How did this guy become this guy?
Yeah.
Very likely because someone in his childhood turned him into this monster. He's a trauma victim. So don't lose your humanity. You do your job. Unfortunately, you can't get the SOB, father, mother, uncle, aunt, priest, or whatever, who traumatized him. You can't do that. So you just gotta cope and hope that he finds a way to straighten himself out. It's a thing with law enforcement and any other first responder people. That's why I said when I was in the Army, I was useless, because I would just run and just run.
So you obviously have the flee.
I have flight. Now I have a gun, so if necessary, I could turn around and fight. But yeah, I got the flight thing. You want to hear an amazing story from the animal kingdom in training?
Yes.
Let's hear it.
The fight, flight, or fawn thing. They show a video. Oh no, I already told you this. The fight, flight.
Yeah.
Where the cheetah came. That was just an amazing experience, because a lot of times people who are like abused, they go fight or flight. They're in a freeze response that's so radical that they actually collapse all their defenses. So how do you make them feel safe? It starts with your face, and it starts with warmth and kindness, like, I'm not a threat to you. One of the things that's really new, and you know this, Kristi, you've raised 2 beautiful, amazing girls.
Thank you.
But you know that men are not raised well in America. And just in general, it's a generalization, but men have been led to believe that they have to have agency and power and competence. Where the hell is the care? Where is the inner feminine nurturing and caring? It's like You get dissed for that. You know what? Shut up about that. No one wants an aggressive, arrogant person. Don't make me get my gun again.
No.
So when I was reading Refrigerator Rights, constantly all the way through it, and really the points are so important, the thing that kept going, a couple things kept going through my mind. Here was one, and maybe we'll get to the other one. It's my opinion. I'd like to know what you think. It seems to me that when you talk about social relationships and avoiding isolation and all that, women are so much better at doing that than men. So much better.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Women with women, that's the secret sauce of socialization. If they have men who can enter that environment with safety and joy, God bless them and God bless it. They're ready to receive you. But you want to know where a lot of the hostility of women to men writ large is because they haven't had enough experiences with men who want to enter their world and do so with gingerly approach. And the people I work with who are victims of domestic abuse, I have to give them here's where something is really helpful. The new neuroscience of stress is phenomenally amazing. And it all comes down to, I say, breathing. Breathing is the new happy place. Because breathing, I have to give people, now, what do you know about the brain when I'm instructing someone? You know about your nervous system, right? Your nervous system, the alarm goes up and all your defenses come up. It's the hijack of the amygdala, all come up. How do you counteract that? Honest to God, breathing does it. Deep breathing settles that down. You have to keep doing it and doing it. But when you're going in to approach this person who you're terrified of and afraid you won't have your composure, you sit there and do deep breathing. I've even had cops tell me, you know what? I've taken the message. And now when I come home after a long shift, I sit in my driveway. I don't go into the house. I sit there and do deep breathing. So I'm calmer going into my family. And so how many people have family that's more than just, I often tell people, I've done a lot of weddings over the years. And I also done marital counseling. No one ever once said to me that if the marriage went south, they always say, how was it in the beginning? It was great. We fell in love. No one ever once come in and said, Ed, pretty much sucked right out of the thing. But then over time, it was like, I realized I had married Satan. I didn't know that. Guess what the profile of their lifestyle was? You and me in the world. The women didn't have sisters. The men didn't have brothers. Right. It was like, are you out of your frickin' mind? You need all of those people. The old days from the 40s and the 50s where families stayed intact. They had all those relationships and they mentored each other. That's what Murthy is talking about. We don't have that kind of collective. And so where do you get that? You need to have it in like social and safe, calm engagements with other people where you're looking face to face and you're doing something that's not tense.
You were talking about coping skills and you brought up Breathe. Have you read the book by James Nestor called Breathe?
They absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a whirlwind of a book. He talks about nostril breathing is the death of us.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. It nostril
breathing.
In fact, Breathe and Refrigerator Rights, both available on Amazon if you would like to get copies of those books.
Yep.
I highly recommend both. But it does. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's a scholarly tangle because what he goes through is amazing, but it's so persuasive that if anyone has like sleep apnea and they do, the mask is designed to shut off your mouth breathing. And because that was always a crack, they're a mouth breather.
Yeah.
Yes. Have you seen the tape you can get for that?
No, I haven't done that.
Yes.
Is it good?
They actually sell tape now.
I thought it was like a hostage photo
or
something.
Too.
Oh, yes. Yes. Oh, that I'm familiar with. Yes. Tape your mouth.
Tape your mouth shut at night. Yeah. Forcing you to breathe through your nose.
Or during the day.
Might be a fantasy for some.
No, all of this, see, here's my happy place, and you guys are in it full stop. It's that this fusion between engaging and entertaining commiseration, whether it's stand-up or just radio or whatever, combined with what we know now about neuroscience, about human health, is just, when you're trained as a therapist, the mantra is biopsychosocial. That's how you diagnose somebody. First, you rule out, is there anything biological going on, right? They're demented, whatever. Then you go to psychological. When that's usually, tell me about your mother, that type of stuff. But the part that's darkened is the last one, social. And actually, if their social life is too anemic, it's going to affect their psychology. And it goes backwards. If you fix your social, it will calm your psychological and calm your body. I would say this when I give my speech. I say, Haven't you had enough diarrhea? Come on. And I say, this is something. You ever try and open an Imodium package? Who are the psychos who wrap that stuff? Shouldn't that be just like a pop top to just put it in your mouth? Because people's bodies are in turbulence. And then that affects your calmness and how you can relate to people. How do you start relationships? Tell your face, find ways you can be engaged, do some sort of service or something where you're around. That's what the radio, every morning when these guys get into the studio, they're compelled to be socially engaged and to talk about stuff. And they're healthy as all get out. They really are. No, don't be dissing me, honey, because I have science behind me.
All right,
I know.
Let's take a right turn here.
Okay.
Let's take a right turn. For the people that are listening, and we can be guaranteed there are people who identify what you're saying. They say, yeah, that's me. Yeah, that's how I feel. Wow. Yep. Finally, somebody's articulating what I've been feeling.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
What's their first step?
It's finding low-grade opportunities to be involved with something. I often tell people, volunteer for something. You know, I have friends who volunteer at the food finders. Just go in there and unpack packages. Guess what'll happen? Over time, the other knuckleheads who are there unpacking packages with you, you start to get close. How long does it take to get close to somebody? Time and experience. But if you have an urgency that you will not survive unless you get what you need socially, you're hosed and you'll go down. And that's all those grim, ugly statistics that we talked about. They get isolated. And then all of a sudden, what do I do to feel good? I take a substance. I do something to make me feel better. How's that going for you, Sparky? How's that going to work long term? Right? And then, of course, depression and suicide. These are the ugly truths that are the back end of this. Go all the way to the other end of the equation and say, how do I not go down that road? Or for my kids, how do I get my kids to not go down that road? I'm just surprised that more parents don't realize that unfettered use in isolation of social media. How's that working for you? How's that going to go?
It's scary is what it is. And that was going to be my question. I actually have it on here about the social media problem that we have with our young people.
I do have faith in organizations, teachers, coaches, etc., that kids who get into athletics, for example, or some other kind of an activity, there's an adult overseeing them that, no, we're doing this now. We're not doing that now. You know what I mean? My neighbor, Jane, who is really into knitting, she volunteered at the schools and started a knitting club. And she couldn't believe it. In the elementary school, a lot of boys showed up to do it. Oh, and cool. She called them the nitwits. And it was a club. And they all got into that.
I like her already.
So it's activities. Some groups the gay and lesbian community have always, out of fear, fled to their others and find their strength with each other. Thank God, because the macho crap is not relevant to any gathering of people. It just isn't. And so I know you know this, Doc, from the animal kingdom, that socialization, yes, there's a priority, and yes, there's like an alpha thing going on. But I got to tell you, the alpha male stuff, that's Sapolsky. He really had that nailed down. Human beings have a great capacity to recover from an acute trauma. And when they come down from that, very little damage to the body. Chronic stress destroys your body. And,
I again, reading through your book, there's one thing that kept going through my mind. And this is about chimpanzees, one of the great apes, intensely social, incredibly dynamic social environment. And I wish that this has been my phrase, but I have a colleague who was quoted as saying, a lone chimpanzee is not a chimpanzee.
There you go.
They are defined by being social with other chimpanzees.
Amen. And Doc, bring that up to humans.
Yeah, I kept reading that. And then let me quote another incredible author. It says, our first help is found with one another. That's you, by the way. Quote from your book. There you go. I mean, what a beautiful and brilliant thought and expressed so perfectly.
I'm flattered. It's been my life's passion and work, and I'm still on it. And I still think there's more evidence coming out that this is something that has to be dealt and addressed with. And I hope you understand, Kristi, the zeal with which I affirm, whether you're conscious of it or not, the impact that show has on you and on the people who are listening. They feel like they're part of it. Yes, they're not psychotic. They know that they're not in the room with you,
Right.
but they feel the voices and they feel the affirmation. And so that's what we need. It's what we're
I'm
going to.
very fortunate, and I love being here in this room and being
Yep.
on the show. And you're right. I've seen it. I've met people on the street. Oh my gosh, you don't believe what you got me through. And
Right.
it's really heartwarming. It really is.
It is, because you are like that relationship that you're the sister, you're the aunt, you're the cousin, you're somebody like that. And Doc, you're now my new best friend. I have to come down and talk.
I'll take that. I'll be
Yeah.
waiting. I'll be waiting.
I am into this up, down, and sideways. I really am. It's just been my zeal. I can't believe 9/11 tanked my book. Now, I shouldn't say that. That's politically incorrect. That's
Well,
not a
that's-
helpful thing.
I don't want to throw Dr. Rob under the bus, but he's written a lot of books that haven't gotten a lot of press either,
Oh,
unfortunately.
Dr. Rock, writing a book is the loneliest damn thing there ever was.
It's true.
The reason,
It's
the
true.
reason I'm a
I've got your
Canadian-
books. I read them. I'm just saying.
Well, they're really good.
Can you get them on Amazon too?
You can.
You need to push your own books, dude.
Text me the link to your book. I'm going to read it before I come down to see you.
I
Endangered
will.
species.
I will. There's four. What, four?
Yeah.
Four. Yeah.
Oh, endangered species. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's four. I'll send them to you. There's, they're great.
They are great.
We are an endangered species. That's what I love about this synergy. It's like what you're noticing in the research science of the animal world comes up to us.
Let's wrap up with this question, if you don't mind. We are running out of time, but the way of the world right now seems sometimes so heavy and so all-encompassing and do or die, and it's just there's no hope. How do you spread some hope? The planet's not gonna explode. We're not, but everybody goes, oh, we're killing each other off, and it's gonna be horrible, and and I'm at the preppers, and at the end of the world, and how do you restore faith in mankind?
To tell you the truth, I think the mantra in trauma studies is just this little boilerplate word, feeling safe. You have to be in places where you feel safe, with people with whom you feel safe. And if you don't feel safe, get the hell out of there. Tell them to go pound sand, ghost them. Go with people who make you feel safe. And you can do it by volunteering. I think you can find a church where the pastor's not a butthead or an autocrat. You know what I mean? That's what makes me that's what makes me nuts. These people who are like, how did politics get into the Jesus thing? I don't get that at all. Jesus looks at them going, I'm going to crush you like a frickin' bug when you get It's true. It's like, how did we get into this stuff? That's nonsense.
That's the best.
Power. Jesus wasn't about power. He was about service. Read the frickin' gospel. I remember reading about some pastor in the evangelical church who said he was preaching on the Sermon on the Mount. Oh, I want to leave you with this. You'll love this. And some guy came up and said, where are you like reading all that liberal democratic stuff? Because it's the Sermon on the Mount. Get this. I think you'll love this. I wrote a script where I'm going to do a performance, I don't know, not live or not, called The Sermon on the Mount by Jesus from Brooklyn. It's what if Jesus was born around my time and I did the exact same scripture. All right, everyone's gathered around, find a place in the lawn. There's my mother down there. Hi, Mom. Talking to my mother. Stay away from her. And no, Phyllis, she did not appear in your freezer. So just get over that. It said don't kill anyone. Really? That's your standard? Don't kill anybody? Hey, honey, I'm home from work. Did you kill anyone? No. Oh, good. I'll have dinner. How about you don't hurt anybody? I'm going to do that in that voice.
That'd be
It's
great.
going to be authentically follow the thing. I think it's going to be cool.
It would be very cool.
Wow.
But I'll be assassinated probably.
Oh, jeez. See, there you go again. Now we're talking bad things. I don't want to be talking bad things anymore.
No, tell your face. Just go away with this. Tell your face.
Yes.
Tell your face and see how people respond.
Kristi lives under rose-colored glasses. It's Kristi's world. Everything's great.
And read the book,
Because-
Refrigerator Rights.
Yes, to read the book.
Yes.
It's fantastic.
Right.
It's fantastic.
I'm your biggest, most passionate fan. I adore you, girl. You're my little sister.
Oh, I love you.
Always
too,
have
Dr.
been.
Will. The
Yep,
three of
yep.
us need to have dinner with
Well,
our
we'll do it.
spouses. That'd be
We'll do
fun.
it.
Oh my God, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank
All
you
right,
so
guys.
much for your time. We really appreciate it. Dr. Will Miller
And-
has been our guest.
Anytime I can do that, I'll come back. Thank
All
you.
right.
Bye-bye.
What a
Thank you.
pleasure.
Yes.
What a pleasure.
You can find him, of course, on his website and Facebook, and Refrigerator Rights is available on Amazon, as well as James Nestor's book, Breathe, if you have any interest in science. And have you read this book?
I've not.
Oh,
It's next
it's
on
a
my
good
list.
one. It's a good one. You're going to like it, science man.
Absolutely.
Do you want to wrap us up?
Dr. Will, what a conversation. You are the best. We laughed, we learned. You're fantastic. Can't wait to talk to you again. Thank you so much.
It's a mutual admiration society. Thank you so much. I love you guys.
You were worth our time.
Yes, you were definitely worth our time. Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Will.
See you. Bye. Take care.
Don't forget to tell all your friends about Worth Your Time with Dr. Rob Shumaker and Kristi Lee. And we'll be back with more special guests. Be sure and follow us on all the podcast mediums. And I wish I had something to promote, but I don't. Just it'll be something fun and entertaining. And
who's Oprah next?
Oprah?
Did she return the email?
I'm waiting. I'm still waiting.
That was one of the best emails I've ever written.
Okay, well, hopefully that works.
Come on, Oprah, check your email.
Thank you so much, and we'll catch you back here on Worth Your Time.
You've been listening to Worth Your Time with Dr. Rob Shumaker and Kristi Lee. If you like what you hear, please give a review wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to tell your friends. Word of mouth is the best compliment. Thanks to our producers, Chris Spangle of Leaders and Legends, LLC. You can reach him at leadersandlegends.net. Also, thanks to Sophie Ritz. I'm Christopher Geisen. Thanks for joining us.